Welcome back to your channel. My name is Brad and this is Supercoach Pro. Oh my God. So I meant to do a live earlier and I did a podcast with George from Supercoach Masters, and then something come up with him and then something come up with me. So hopefully we'll postpone that one for Sunday night, because Sunday night this week there's actually an early finish to the Sunday game. So tonight I'll be solo unless someone inboxes me from the YouTube world, I suppose. But if you look at the Sunday fixture this week, hopefully my mic's on, by the way, the Adelaide and Melbourne game starts at 3:15. That's the last game of the round. So I've asked him maybe around 6 or 7 o'clock if he wants to jump on a potty, then we can do a live. I was meant to do a live tonight, but he had some issues. I had some other stuff I had to deal with as well. And here we are, 3 hours later. So again, apologies for poor timing sometimes, but I guess just with the little one and stuff like that as well, it's very hard to be on time for certain things that you can't foresee. So apologies for that, but here we are. And I was just going to do a bit of a live stream. I don't know how long I'll go for, but I just want to actually look at some players that actually value players tonight, and maybe a few disgusting pod picks that could come good. But yeah, other than that, it's nice to actually get a weeknight off. You saw my Supercoach team review, decided this wasn't feeling like going in tonight. Just not. I don't know how to explain it without going into too much detail, but sometimes you just don't feel like going for it. And like, you got sick leave for various reasons, you may as well use it, because geez, your job doesn't care if you cark at the end of the day. They just want to replace you the next day anyway. So anyway, knock from Aqua says good morning. I won't be going to midnight tonight, I don't think. A bit early just to say morning, just preparing. Yeah, normally I do a midnight stream, so that's why Aqua's saying that. I noticed too, I was watching a little bit of the lives while multitasking, doing other important things, but there was like 30 or 40 people in the chats tonight. So I don't know whether people checked out from the buys and they're just not interested, but it certainly felt like that tonight. Just reading some of the comments, it seemed like the Supercoach Addicted is still going on, but I don't know if everyone had a poor buy this week and it's just a minority that had a really good one, because all you always see is the minority on Twitter and not the majority. So that's why, hence this week, I thought it was going to be like a 2,000 ranking. But I don't know which way I'm going to do this. I think people are short in cash, so I might actually go disgusting value players that we probably shouldn't talk about, and it could lead to unsubbing, but I don't really give a shit, because I want to talk about bargain players, I guess, and then we'll work into the good players. So there's a reason why I'm going for the bargain players, and I've looked at a lot of teams, and cash gen's pretty thin. And I thought I'd just talk about some sneaky picks that let's just call it under 500k, because they're not disgusting picks, but I'll go through some of them, and I'll just tell you what I think in general. And they may be a little bit controversial, but I don't mind on these sort of streams where people go, what the shit is this? Like, why is this guy talking about this? So I like to do things a little bit differently, not be so vanilla, I guess. But some of them are going to be questionable, and I understand that. But I think this year I wanted to exert every option possible, even if it was just a thought, a flash in the pan. I think it's better to do that than just deny every single player that you think, no good. Like, statistically, you've still got to look at what they do. And I'll go into a segue down the bottom. There's actually a player I want to talk about too. Broad says, please tell me the rumours are true, and the ghost George is joining you. He was going to join me, as I said earlier, but yeah, he had some stuff to do tonight, and at a certain time he actually goes to bed, you reckon? So yeah, absolute goat. But we did a potty tonight on his channel at Supercoach Masters, which you guys, I'm sure, follow, and you probably found him before you found me, to be honest. Horse head in the bed, and if you're watching this as a playback and you're at the gym at 6 in the morning, at least this might distract you for a bit. But Horse says gone 129 in 2024, then followed up a 120-23 and a 124 in 2021 versus O'Brien. Oh, okay, looks like a safe backup seed for me to BC or Sniff. And Sniff, he's talking about Bailey Smith, of course. Horse then also follows up with Gorn 90 and 88 versus Wits this season. Does not put me off Fort 135, Meek 93, Nank 98. Interesting. The last 3 scores versus Rob. This is the first player that I reckon is the bargain player of the week. Not one I don't think many people will probably actually advocate for going there, but I'll just put my 2 cents on it. Like, let's just go for Greene. Toby Greene. So I think his break even's around 87. Probably wouldn't advocate for a F6 unless you're super desperate, but it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world going from, a rookie at F6 that you need to chop like a Max Hall to a Toby Greene or something like that, considering he's got Giants. He's definitely a shadow of him former self, but, after the Cats game, then he's got Essendon, so you're probably looking at the next 2 out of 3. This year in round 4, he got a 149 against Eagles. His history, barring last year at GMHBA, has actually been pretty good against the Cats. And Essendon's actually been no good, weirdly enough. So I'll probably sort it out this way. So let's look at average versus an opponent, I suppose, on the way home. West Coast isn't up there, but he did have that 149. Interesting to see round 21 and 22 in your Supercoach finals. His best matchups are actually Bulldogs significantly averaged 104 against them, which is kind of crazy for a player at his age. And then North is his next best side. St Kilda's only one that worries me if I'm looking at sorting out by average. Doesn't really score well against them. And then the second thing to account for, I suppose, is how many home games or how many games at their stadium, I suppose, they play. And you can clearly see they play the next 4, and after that they play. That's actually pretty stiff. The last 4 away. 2 Marvel games away, Optus Stadium away, which is fine for the West Coast. Oh, shit, I've done this the wrong way around because I've sorted out from average still, so bugger that. Optus Stadium this week, home here, Marvel there. For a second, I didn't sort that out. My bad. Anyway, disregard that because I'm a complete nuffy, but on the way home, he actually doesn't have as many home games as I thought he would, considering there's 8 rounds left. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's only got half of his home games left in the season. Ideally, if you get an F7 or F6, you probably want like six home games on the way out from the final 8 games. So maybe when the MCG crowds like your Collingwood or something would have that. I think Greene's fine for like more of an F7 loop. Another one. This could be disgusting, but 488k. I know Cheese is going to get worked up in this if he's in the chat, but I know a few of the creators too had him as well. I'm pretty sure Rook flicked him off, for a better player, but definitely a lot of 70s. But for 488k, and this is the sort of thing, how many home games or how many away games has he played that are not in Victoria, I suppose? Well, we know he's actually okay over at Tassie. So interstate. I'm not saying Tassie's not interstate, don't get me wrong. Fremantle, Adelaide, and the Lions. So he actually's got 5 games down here, and obviously, 4 of them down here and then 1 of them in Tassie. So that's a little bit better, slightly, just by 1 game over a Toby Greene sort. Presti, I actually don't like the pick. I know he's got most of them are pretty much tons in that one really poor game. But Prestia, for me, as a Tiger supporter, he's so injury prone. He's probably the equivalent to a Darcy Parish. Did well here, no worries at all. Regressed, just got smashed here. I barely even saw him in the game. Time on ground's a little bit concerning, but his points per minute doesn't matter anyway. He's dead set CBA, number 1 or 2 at least. Worst case, he's behind Taranto and Hopper, but he's got no other position bar CBAs. But 452, I wouldn't do it unless I had 7 trades left and I was, looping him. I wouldn't advocate for him to be an M8. Whereas at least Newcombe, I could be okay with him at M8, even though it's a disgusting bargain pick. Carl Amon, this is a real bargain pick as well. What do we got here? Don't know if I'd sort of rate. I'd rather go to Tommy Stewart. Yeah, I mean, not the worst floor, but a lot of 70s for a guy that's 465. Where's he score well at? Yeah, I don't know. I can't really get a good read on that because his three round average is what, 93, 5 round average 95. So maybe in form players will be a little bit better as well. Dylan Moore's a no for me. I know he got subbed out and he got scoured a fair bit, but he's been subbed out twice now. I know people would go there, but prior to the last 2 weeks, no, he's been a no. Like he had 1 ton. I know like players turning form and whatever, but yeah, I know Dylan Moore's on a hot streak, and I got asked about him tonight actually. I don't know. I don't really find him appealing this year. Not after the stuff he's dished up. I think Fraser will be a next year pick. I think we're 1 year too early on Fraser. Bailey Williams have got no interest. Darcy Fort's kind of one that could have been a sneaky flex option at the time. My boy was Pinsky, 87. He would have been all right when he was a lot cheaper than that. But really, very much like that Toby Greene boat. What I got in the comments, by the way, because I've been checking it for a good 10 minutes. Okay, so she's been going a bit nuts in terms of comments anyway. Aqua says, I'm in a conundrum. Shees and Roberts are out of my team this week. I think Witt out averages Ash by 5 to 10. I don't know if you can hear my dog, but she's gone nuts tonight. I have no idea why. There's got to be a possum in the works out there. Buy Ash 550k, get an extra 50 points this week, or buy Witt 510k and field Martin. I'd probably hold Whitfield. I know he misses West Coast, but I'd probably be inclined to hold him and just field Martin. Like, you'd be running out of trades by now. Shees and Roberts. I mean, Roberts definitely got to go, but Shees is one of those guys you've probably also got to move on to if you've got enough trades in the bank. Will Shees and Whitfield play? Well, Whitfield's been ruled out, so he won't play, Jay. Shees has been named to play, apparently. Well, not been named to play, but he will get through, they reckon. Shees, yes, no, exactly, Aqua. Give us a like for those 22 chilling in the chat. It's definitely a slow night on a Monday. I don't know why. I couldn't work out the algorithm for why Monday was just a no-go for Supercoach talk. It must be the buyers killing people and no one's got trades to talk about. So this is pretty much the addicted here, I guess. Aqua says, my final non-injury trade would be Rao to Gorn in round 19. At least I can lock that in. Yep. And then Jason says, thanks. No problem from Aqua. Horse. TDK made it through training, but reports says he saw. Yeah, right. Okay. Whitfield already ruled out. Interesting. TDK has been a blunder of a pick from me a couple of weeks ago. Jason asking who would have BC, Cherry or Bont? Probably Bont, I think. Aqua trade plans this week since Shees and Roberts out for GWS halfback. I like Jeremy Cameron. I think Jeremy Cameron's a great shout for his fixture. Any Cats player, to be fair, is going to be good. Considering Toby Greene. Sorry, Toby Greene. We either have 65 or 105, depending. Yeah, at least you got a bit of a plan. Oh, geez. I just read your comment below. Problem is, I'll be with 3 trades. That's fair enough. Like 3 trades is fine. I've got 3 trades. I'm okay with that. So, Lupus to say, mate, hope you're well. Yeah, not too bad, mate. Thank you for asking. Thinking of trading Newcomb to one of Bont. Ed, I assume he means Ed Richards and Gordon in 4 trades and 22 primos, rookie rotation and flex. Other options, I keep Newcomb and upgrade flex to Jezza. I'd probably actually upgrade flex to Jezza and do it that way and then have a rookie in the flex. I think Jezza would be the perfect flex player, to be honest. I like that a lot better. Problem is, I'll be worth the 3. 3 is fine. Newcomb's fine. Like, there's worse players than that. What do we got here? Steve May, your favourite? Actually, I haven't really thought about Steve May. As a player, he's an absolute flog. Supercoach pick, he's been my D6 for a few years now, like, or D7 as well, potentially. Like, he's been kick out duties and whatever. I don't know what he's been doing recently, but I just wanted to check out this comment. Jeez, yeah, he's been poor this season. Definitely, I feel like last year he was a bit better because I'm pretty sure he had a game that was under 10 because he got knocked out or something like that. What other players would entice me? I'll go back to averages. Archer May is probably a good rookie to pick up this week if you think he will stick. I'm not really sure on the rookies this week. I still like Rouston at 160, but it's a bit overs for a rookie downgrade. Doesn't make sense. Walsh is injured. Darcy's home run should be good. I can't actually believe he's 23.4% owned now. That's actually crazy to me. I thought he'd be like, I don't know, maybe 15% owned after this week and whatever, but North Melbourne, he's dropped a 146 on. Yeah, look, he's got a great run. Like, apart from he's got one game away from home, which is actually quite crazy because if you look at his Marvel run, nothing below 117. The 16 was injury affected where they thought he'd done an ACL, but if that's anything to go by, maybe that was always going to be a given that he was going to go odd against Sydney. But in saying that too, like, he still went 141 at Optus Stadium. So that's interesting. But Noble, 98.5. He's been consistent all year from memory anyway. Like, he's definitely killed Rioli. Daniel Rioli's scoring. Oh, my God. He's actually been really poor the last, a few weeks prior to this 132. Down game against Geelong, though. Like, a lot of players have down games against Geelong and Giants. But other than that, he's been really consistent. How many home games has he got? Yeah, that's annoying for Gold Coast players. They've only got 1, 2, 3, 4. So, again, half their fixtures away, half theirs is not. Because Pickett was good before Viney came in, although he scored a 121 anyway, so it doesn't really matter about the Viney. He definitely looks better than what he has. I think it's been a bit of a mini breakout. Like, he's been way more consistent this year than the other years from the eye test. Yeah, wow. Been super consistent, actually, barring a few odd games. But for your forward one, who cares? Like, he's probably not a bad shout for an F6 for sure. I think Meek boat has sailed for your ruckman, and he's got the hardest fixture, I'm pretty sure, for rucks. Rankin's quite cheap. I don't mind the Rankin pick. I think his run's pretty good back end from memory. I wish you'd do a little bit more. Well, Melbourne Dogs, Gold Coast. How many home games has Rankin left for the season? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. 5 home games. He's got West Coast for your prelim and North for your grand final. If you make it in cash leagues, that's pretty juicy. Funnily enough, if you're average versus opponent, Melbourne is the best side he plays against, and he plays against them this week. So hopefully that he shows a bit against Melbourne if that's his best upcoming fixture with the leftover opponents. Bowie, I felt like was having a good season. In the last month of footy, he sort of dropped off. Again, barring last week. Look, he wouldn't be the worst D6 if you wanted to move off from Roberts, but again, I feel like Roberts' role is definitely dead on the wing now. Likely to get a 95 the week before. I'm pretty sure he's been getting a little bit of tags. It's the issue with Bowie as well. Like, that doesn't make sense. Cripper maybe for next year. I know it sounds weird, but excuse me. Maybe if Cripps stays under 500k next year, maybe has a resurgence and go nuts. But if you're a Cripps owner, you're probably looking to get off. But he wouldn't be the worst M9 was, to be honest. But just doesn't look hungry. Just looks like he doesn't give a shit anymore. Wow, yeah, his month of football has been actually really bad. Sums up Carlton too. Like, you look at those 3 matchups and you're thinking 63, 83, 75. You're actually thinking they're 130s, to be honest. Maybe Cripps is carrying something, but that does not seem right from Cripper. I'm not going to call him a one-hit wonder or anything, but Caleb Daniels has been fine. A lot of 80s in there. Probably we're not going to go in there. He's pretty highly owned. Warner probably looks better with Gordon and all those other players around him back. I'll probably go back to the comments because it's probably getting filled up again. Acro Lynch, I'm taking one for the team, wanting us to have our Campbell Gray back. I think Campbell Gray is still injured. Let me look at the injury report, man. Like, I feel like Campbell Gray is not coming back for a while. Richmond, let's see, injury list. I feel like, I don't know if there's actually so 7 days ago this was posted on Richmond. So Campbell Gray is 2 to 4 weeks away with a knee. They wouldn't bring him back straight away anyway. 2 to 4 weeks away. That was last week. So I think you might be unlucky here, to be honest. Look, if he gets a holiday, I'm just VFL Richmond. I'll see who they might bring back in. Trying to think who they would bring back in. Just seeing who played well. Sure, it's got the actual report. Let me look at the players themselves instead. I just don't think Campbell Gray's coming back anyway, regardless. Who do we got? Maybe Bolter plays forward. I can see that happening. Yeah, and then what's his name? Got injured again, did his calf this time. Value, he's a key forward for Richmond, did ACL last year. Maybe they bring in Jacob Bauer. He's 190 something. He's like a sort of like a reroll type. Definitely not a big body though. We need a big body. Can see Thomas Sims getting his spot back. Liam Fawcett as well as a key forward. He's a big unit, so maybe he gets a game before the end of the season. I don't know who played well in the VFL out of Liam Fawcett, Thomas Sims, or Jacob Bauer, but that's who we got there. Surely don't play bloody Samson Ryan. He should be delisted. Jonty Fall's been okay for a first-year player. I know it sounds a little bit controversial. I'm not talking about a Richmond podcast here, but I'd actually like to see Morris Rioli getting a run in the midfield, which is probably the weirdest thing I've said on the stream before. But yeah, Campbell Gray ain't coming back, I don't think. Yep, he was traded. He was injured a while ago. No, I don't reckon he will be back because they're not going to rush him. They're not going to rush him into the AFL system. Like, I can't see them, bringing him straight in off injury. It's not like he's a veteran or like got the games under his belt to know the structure. Like, we bought him in pretty sure last year in the mid-season draft. I think they'll give Sims a crack and hopefully he can, not that he can crash packs because he's pretty raw. Like, we picked him up last year. Hawksy, bruh. How we doing? Still can't figure out F6. What price range are you looking at, Hawksy? Aqua said, thoughts on the manner or just keep it simple, Jez? Just keep it simple, Jez, I reckon, Aqua. One injury trade's wild. Good to see your camera actually moving tonight. Yeah, well, it's so annoying. I don't understand it. I might get a new computer maybe next year once I've got a little bit more rev. Aqua, 24 Pramos, Martin, Erasmus, Johnson, plus Gravy players. Yeah, nice. Horse says, this is why Supercoach needs a hold back people's final 5 trades for the last 6 weeks. I've decided to keep it. Yeah, I actually agree with this, actually. Maybe there is a world where, you're released a few trades at the back end of the season. So maybe it is capped. But I don't know. So many rules make it more difficult. People will want to jump off. If it's too complex, people will just give up. The flex give an opportunity for it to be easier for a lot of sides. But I think the buyers let it be easy anyway, because a lot of people catch up in the buyers that don't necessarily have a full team either. So I can see why the OGs probably leave this game getting changed all the time, but I can see why the newcomers come back and enjoy this kind of thing, because it's a bit of a distraction, and there's so much content out there now too that everyone's so different in their take as well. Everyone has different views. Everyone has different podcasts. Some of them have 3 people. Some of them have 2. And you just pick who you like, really. So I think Supercoach will always be relevant for a period of time. 190,000 play it. And since I've been playing it, I remember it even being like a few years ago, it was like 170K. So whatever they're doing, they're still getting people each and every year. And then there becomes more content creators as well with that, which is funny. I think I've been doing this 4 years now, actually. But I don't mind that idea at all, Horse. Boiper, yeah, okay, I can do both, but I'd be left with 1 injury trade. Oh, that's rough. Also, it hurt when Newcombe goes 100 for the rest of the season. Good on 125. Yeah, but you're really saying Newcombe and Jezza or Goulden and a rookie is the equation. I'm taking Newcombe and Jezza over Goulden and a rookie. Goulden will go 110, he reckons. 110 maybe. I reckon 112. I'd rather Callahan than Errol. Wow. I wouldn't rather Callahan over Errol just because that dislocated shoulder. I don't think he will out-average Tom Greene. Not that shoulder. Surely that has implications going forward. 1 tackle and he's absolutely cooked. If they really knock him in that right shoulder hit or whatever shot it was, he's cooked. Yeah, interesting though. We'll see what happens end of the year. Oh man, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'd actually prefer Kennedy from the Dogs now that Traw's done his calf for 4 to 6 weeks. Would be my pick, but I can see why people want to go there. I'm not a fan of either Aqua, but I could be completely wrong. I haven't got everything right this year. I feel like this guy's been named every week. I don't mind Wilkie, but it's just not that appealing as a pick. Yeah, look at Wilkie. Monday night stream. I've never been able to do this because of afternoon shift bullshit. I'm so over doing afternoon shift. I need a day job, a 9 to 5. Even though I hate it. Why can't I? Cool, I can't even spell Wilkie. Yeah, right. 516K for Wilkie. Break even's quite high still too. He might come down to 500 on the dot. Well, some tough matchups too with the Cats in a few weeks, but got Hawthorn in there. Oh, his fixture's actually pretty good for Saints, actually. You've really got a Geelong that's not going to be favourable, and then Giants. Other than that, they've actually got a nice run. So that should be good for Sinclair too. Wilkie's only turned up once in the last 5 matches. That worries me if I want Wilkie. I think Durham, when he comes back, he'll be quite cheap because after knocking old mate over, like he could be a player that you look at. This is one guy I've considered as my M9, giving my secrets away, but I really don't care. Look at this. He did that poor game here, absolute shocker. I can't actually remember what happened there. And then 83 here, but before that, what was he averaging? 98. He wouldn't be the worst shout. You separate it like this. Yeah, not bad. This is for 468. He's got a break even of, what's his break even? 140 something. Yeah, he wouldn't be the worst shout as a. At least in the rolls there. Especially if Parrish is going to be out. You got Richmond the week after too, so let's say he goes 100. What would he be at next week against Richmond? His break even would be 82, so you could pick him up for 448K. Weird shout, but that's what I'm here for, is looking at weird picks that you guys think I'm nuts for. Thilthorpe. This is a guy, I think, key forwards, if you're going to go generational key forwards, like the Buddy eras of Supercoach and whatever, I think it's Thilthorpe and Darcy, clearly. I don't know if you could start him because it'd be quite frustrating, but certainly a player you could bring in the back half, and his run's not too bad either. Like West Coast and North, and not last 2 out of 4. Melbourne this week too. Like, he's just a beast. Especially when Tex Walker retires. I don't know if he's going around again. But he'd be really good because he got Fogarty down there as well, and bloody that many tools. Roberts is cooked. Horny Man will be cheap, so that would be interesting to look at once he sort of gets over his injury. Jays, he could get down to 440k. You got Brisbane as well, so that's not going to be an easy matchup for him. But West Coast for the picking next week. Then, geez, even if you got let's say you got 100, let's say technically he looks good this week. Let's just go 104 then, whatever projected. His break even will still be quite high, 115. Right, he could get to. Well, he could get real cheap. 100. What does he get if he gets 100s? 100. Could he get to 400k? Am I crazy? Okay, so even if he gets back-to-back tons, he get to 445k. You're only saving 20k. You'd probably want him for the Wesco matchup, but yeah, I mean, when he's on, he's on. He's only scoring awful because he's injured. Oliver is so washed. Oliver's never again on my list. Josh Kelly, if he got CBAs again, I think he'd been absolutely smoky. I remember looking at his CBAs before, and they're not there. Well, at least a couple of weeks ago, I think. I was looking at it, and yeah, yuck. If he got CBAs back though, and maybe Greene went down, I haven't actually looked at his current CBAs the last couple of weeks, but I remember looking a while back and it just wasn't there. McInerney, that pick, not working out anymore. Maybe because all the other players come back. Fraser, again, one I might start next year. Callum Mills gets stuff this year. Vlosson's interesting. Yeah, he's normally been such a good scorer for Supercoach, been one of our best, but 440k for Vlosson, you wouldn't go there anyway. But Peatling, yeah, no thanks. Myers is probably interesting with the run home. This is very appealing for a Myers kind of pick. Probably a little bit expensive though for his forward that plays like he does too, like a half forward flank. But like, I mean, since round 10, you wouldn't say no to the bloke. Good fixture on the way home. Ferrini's finally getting a run at it. Decent player, but yeah, finally getting the crack. Madden, Briggs probably plays. You'd think so. There's probably no point going there for your flex. Shy Bolton's an absolute hack. Dylan Moore, people featured on. I'm not a massive fan. Flynn's dud. Flynn's the worst ruckman in the league. Changed my mind. Followed by Goldie. Rioli's cooked. Wow, that's a huge fall off. Welcome John Noble. Absolutely killed his role. And a few other players, obviously, at the Gold Coast, but wow. I've never seen him be that cheap in a while. Yeah, wow. That's crazy work, actually. Rioli for 386 is just too much hoping and not enough. Well, yeah, that's an absolute fall off from him. When he left the Tigs, he was actually in pretty good form. Bergman could be a next year thing, especially if he has Essendon or someone like that. I think he's proven his point. This could be a breakout. This could be like the Ed Richards sort of this year, I think. Same with Fraser. I'm actually really hot on Bergman and Fraser next year. They give me breakout vibes because they've already sort of mini broke out anyway, but look at the form on Bergman. That might have been the injury game where he copped the knock. Jaden Short, I have no idea what the hell is happening with Jaden Short whatsoever. I don't know how 8,000 NPCs still got him. Jeremy Howe, you couldn't do it. Ned Along could be a guy that breaks out on top of a breakout next year potentially. Scoobs is addicted to this guy from sword play. Himmelberg, yeah, he's a bit of a wonder. I'm not going to talk about him. Ben Keys had one poor game, and before that though, he was on a roll. I wish I picked him up for 350 still, regardless of last week's form. Again, like Keys, this would have been a perfect pickup, 346k. And when you needed him on the buys too, like when you absolutely needed him on the buys, he was clutch, barring Richmond, which is a bit of a weird one because you would have thought Richmond would have kept going. But yeah, I wish I went there 346. Berry was pretty cheap at one point, which I won't get into. Houston, maybe next year we look at Houston once he's got a feel for. Look, he's going to get a flag anyway this year anyway, so surely Houston builds on his flag. And I'm calling it now. I reckon Magpies are winning the bloody flag, unfortunately, but I just can't see other Geelong. I think it'll be like a Geelong-Collingwood grand final. Collingwood by 25. Again, I think Houston's a next year thing, but Josh Dacos and him are just sharing points a little bit back there. Mitch Hinge has fallen off. Humphreys could be a next year pick as well. He could be a breakout. Farrell is interesting. I think Farrell's teased us multiple times. It feels sometimes like just Humphreys could be maybe a 1 to 2 year proposition, but he looks good. Like just absolute steal again from the Cats. They always seem to do that with their players. Doherty, yeah, you're not going to pick Doherty next year, so no point talking about him next year. But Zach Reid, geez, if he comes back too, like at 438k, he's not a bad shout. I know it's crazy to think, but he would. I'm just saying, okay, he wouldn't be the worst D6. Like we've seen what he can do and how he kicks the ball, etc. Like he's been a fantastic player this season. Unfortunately, he got injured. It was good for my ranking, but not good to see any player get injured. Excuse me. Rivers, no. Rivers one we thought he'd pop off, but never did. Sam Banks, I think, is the next year guy. McGrath's surprising. He's absolute trash. Lloyd, nah. Dangerfield's a bit of a smoky, I think. If you're talking about cheap players, his body is so cooked though. Like his body's very similar to Prestia. Break even 57 and has Richmond this week. If he had 334k, oh my gosh, he wouldn't be the worst pick if he was playing, which he looks like he will be. How many games did he miss for that hammy? 2 games. Interesting. Yeah, Danger and Greene are probably the most disgusting players to talk about. Flanders next year, I just feel like this is injury carried, obviously. 42 break even, so it's probably going to be the cheapest he's going to get to really at 372. You probably couldn't go there, honestly, for 372. He's scoring like a rookie anyway. Rookie's doing better. Like Sheldrick's probably doing better than him. Hasn't even gone ton this year, but at least the last 4 out of 5 weeks have looked decent enough. But the role's just not there for him. Other players to note, Perryman's the one we thought were going to go nuts, didn't we? And then he did nothing. DeConning, no. Pitnat, what yuck. Rochelle at one point tickled my fancy to see if he was a bit of a smoky, but no, in the forward line. McKercher, if he gets the role next year too, he could be a breakout on top of breakout. Kitty Coleman's one that people, yeah, this is probably a next year thing. You're not even going to go there around 17, 18, would you? McDonald's cooked. Pryor never went. Kieran Briggs is a hack. Rory Atkins should be on the list. And Noah Bolton just punches people for fun. Brady Hoff is the other one that's actually interesting. Tim Kelly, he's completely washed. You just retire. If you're Tim Kelly this year, you retire. Brady Hoff, his role's changed, so break even of 15. He's an absolute watch for next year if the role sticks. 88, 89 and a 110 at 362k is a bit of a shout. Again, these are disgusting picks, but these are players you could turn into like a 24 for your flex player, whatever you want to call it. Other than that, I wouldn't look at Stanley. I'll go through some of the comments because I'm probably getting spam now, but there's other players I want me to look at. I can do that. I've been just going into my own little world and whatever then. So apologies for that. I'm probably a fair bit behind now by 20 minutes, it says. Don't mind Cozzy. I'm looking for a pod as Robert's replacement. Cozzy. Yeah, Cozzy Piggett's actually a good shout. Boyper Sydney do not have the fourth best run for mids. Do have the fourth best run for mids, sorry. And they're playing better. Gooden could very well average 120. Dogs have the sixth best mid, so Bonnet and Richards go easier 120 as well. Yeah, I hope they do because they got both of them. GWS have the second best run for mids. Go Kawa. Jackson in the house says, "Yeah, legend. I have 280k in a bank and can get my 23rd from Clay Hall. So I have 503k to get as a 23rd. Let's go shopping for a 503k player. Hopefully you're still in the chat. If not, you're gonna have to rewind this. But I'll give you 3 players in case you got two of them. Oh, this is so touchy. Oh my god, I could not get that right. It's like I've got. Oh, this is annoying. 510 will do. I can't be bothered, but 503 is where we're looking at. Give it a scroll. My computer's a touchscreen, so if you ever see my finger just randomly poking around, 503. Jeez, what are we looking at? Chat 503. Jeez, McRae, Newcomb, Kennedy, Pickett. Would you go LDU? Yeah, weird. I think he was at least 490 at one point too. Probably LDU, Jack. I know it's nothing amazing, but 503k. He's got 4 Marvel games, 1 MCG game. Hard games probably this week. Yeah, okay. He's got a bit of a hard run to be fair, but North Melbourne always will. Every matchup's a hard matchup for North, but 503 probably LDU. Weirdly enough. Let's have a look at 3-round average for 503. Yeah, so his 3-round average is 106 at least. 5 rounds 97. Stewart is out of his price range. Dylan Moore, no way. I'm going to go with my gut and say LDU for that one, to be honest, Jack. I think I'd trade Mills to Sam Darcy this week. Yep, in flex position. Is this a good upgrade? I think so. It's a decent upgrade for sure. Mills is disappointing, but I can't get a read on Mills now. Boyper, Jessa instead of Johnson, Clark, Hall, Whitty, and Flex. Jessa instead of Johnson, Clark, Hall, Whitty, and Flex. I'd 100% agree with that statement, mate. 100%. Better fallback. I wish I got Callahan for 429. Was keen, but was too worried about it. Had 16 buy. Turns out not as bad as I thought. Yeah, it was a good pick. I had him, and he got injured. Nick Martin bargain at 570 with Parish out. Yeah, because the mid roll will come back, you'd think. Craig's fit. Put Cripps on every again list. Oh, look, if he's 450 next year, I'd probably start him, to be honest. Cripps has been on my never again list for 2 years. Horrible owning him. Fair point. Aquel Fallion's done his calf, I think, next week with Bolter Gray will. I don't think I'm a Tigers man. I can tell you, Gray. I'd be very surprised if he comes in Aqua. Very surprised. I mean, they've been trying Gray more back anyway than forward from memory. I'd rather see Thomas Sims play forward, or I think he shows more promise than Gray as a forward one. I'd rather Gray down back for maybe they play Blight forward, but Blight's a little bit slow, I feel. I don't know, it's hope, but I just don't see Gray coming back into the side now. Gray's only coming in for Bolter, I think. We've already seen that by our Richmond coach, Uzo. Hawksy, I'm using Gray to loop cover all year, to be honest. Yep, nice. Gibkiss is week or two away. Yeah, he's so injury prone. Gibkiss, there's so much potential there. Hasn't played proper footy in about a year and a half. I don't think he's really played many games at all. Gray playing backline VFL. Yeah, that's what I thought too. I doubt they bring him in and go straight forward. I totally agree with this statement, actually. Yeah, Bolts will go forward. They don't have players, clearly. Yep. Jacob Hopper, sneaky pod with Richmond run. Oh, without even looking at it, mate, I don't even like Jacob Hopper as a player for Richmond, to be honest. I'd rather Taranto for Supercoach. Not interested though, but might be able to get from Erasmus. That's a wild pick. Give us a like for the chat and talking about weird players tonight and whatever else happens in here. I probably won't be here for too long. It's just a quick one. It's just a quickie. Hawksy, if I want an F6 this week, I'd be Clark to a forward and flip Gray to defence. So I can afford 460 this week. Clark will go up and nearly got all the others will come down. F6 for 460. Okay, F6 for 460. What would we do, Brad? Oh, how's that chat the other day? How was it? It might have been Horse scared the shit out of me when he said something about saying my full name in the chat. Spooked me. I was like, do I know this guy? Then saying about the Beyond Blue donation, the run I did a month or two ago. That's how I knew. Tell you what, though, I was like, wow. Well, 460, I'm assuming he's probably got Rankin and Warner, but maybe one of the two. I couldn't even tell you who I'd prefer to Rankin and Warner. Probably Warner. If he's got both of those for 460, who do I like? Jeez. I'm not going to say when Pensy going to get shit for that. Ben Keys says and bring it. Yuck. Probably Jeremy Cameron, actually. The run home. Warner, Rankin, Cameron. Again, wild pull from way back, but I'll probably go Jezza. Hawksy, I don't really want to trade Erasmus right now. Simply using him as cover. Yeah, especially when he scored a decent one. My first year playing fantasy, got 23 promos and 14 trades. Still keeps you interested with the trades. But yeah, I haven't seen you too much this year in Supercoach. I sort of wondered if you'd go into another format, and I get the appeal for a fantasy because you can trade every week and you've still got plenty of trades. So yeah, Supercoach is something like that anyway, I suppose, if you don't heavily sideways. But I've been in the position of injuries, but not even that many, and I've still learned trades. The Dragon says, I just finished watching you and Geordie and seen you pop on for a live. Unfortunately, I was meant to go live with Geordie tonight, but then something come up at his house and then something come up here, and then I'm on here 3 hours later, unfortunately. So, again, that's happened twice in the last week and a half, 2 weeks. Hawksy, so sitting here F6, we'll make some good cash for later in the year. It's talking about Erasmus, I think. Boy Bell with Colour. By the way, Aqua, I already have Witt, Greene, and Ash. Yeah, it would be too many GWS to have a stinker, but I think they make the top 8, and I think Gold Coast come out. Have an insane run. The Giants fighting for finals. Drew one bad. GWS loss with no tons, so I'm scoring 2,000. Yeah, that's a worry, especially after buys. Coming out of the buys, you want to go nuts. Anyways, I'll probably go Jez and a rookie, unless I go both. But one entry trade is all the risky it is. But I think sometimes you can full send it to improve your rank. Aqua says, yeah, only 23. I wouldn't go down to 1. and they're having a conversation with themselves. Seems to go. I think I've liked Laird all season, really, but the issue is Laird gets rested. For some reason, Nix has subbed him off and also didn't give him a random rest. So Juddy, I probably wouldn't go there purely on the resting factor. 36 in the house. How are we getting more people later at night? I'm so confused. Hawksy, done his 46 game for his ankle, then played mostly forward. That's right. That's why I shouted out him. I forgot why the 46 was in the system. Way too expensive. Get Noble. Eamon. I'd probably rather Noble. Bergman is better. Yeah, I believe Bergman's good too. But in with 3. The Jed trade isn't great. It's 4 with 600k. Yeah. So these guys are having a bit of a conversation here. 3 is fine. I think 3 is fine as well for injury trades. Flex makes everything easier. Agreed to this as well. FPL. Wilkie is second on the list for consecutive AFL games with 147. And Crisp at 252. That's a huge gap in between, isn't it? 100 games is wild. Aqua, Darius have North, West Coast, Essendon Saints, Gold Coast, Sydney Dogs, Strong. I read that all in different order. Lovely run, only 2 difficult matchups. Wide up and Giants and Sydney players, he reckons. FPL, I wrote that twice. Aqua, I'd be going this week. Houghton. Yeah, okay, our guy, Houghton. Yeah, rookie one I'd be going this week is Houghton, even if he doesn't play right away. When he does, be a hell of a rookie. Potentially, yeah, he's rated quite highly. Horse, Collingwood a crap for Supercoach. Yeah, true. Perriman horrible starting picking Houston is only a role player there instead of the main distributor. Yeah, different roles between Port and Collingwood. But I just feel like there could be a season where he just goes nuts at Collingwood. Hawksy, Bergman is signing with on report for 2 years. Interesting. Blanders is back. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm almost out of here chat stuff, so we'll go for maybe an extra 20 minutes, half an hour, and call it a night because I didn't realise it's already almost 11 o'clock. Placey, long way to go, but his efficiency wasn't great and relied on tackles. It felt like he needed to do a lot to score well. Yeah, fair. Long was great to own. I think Long will build next year. Never intended him as a keeper. Yeah, he kept giving me keeper scores every week. So it's talking about Long here, and then says so far for 2026, my team is Ridley, Humphrey in defence, Butters, Cripps, Yo, Young. Surely not. I don't know if you're taking the Mickey, but that seems like a draft side. Joker, I'm down to 2 trades. Oh my god, and the full. I've just realised I can't get McCarthy into flex, so a rookie is sitting in there thinking I should burn and trade to fix that up. But you probably could. Full send, like if you're not first, you're last anyway. Oh, Wizards in the chat says my round 1 locks for 26 is Cherry, Ashcroft, Brayshaw, Block, Day, Nass, Holmes, Jagger. I think that's a fair start. Horse, one of the recruiters last week, said if Lindsay was in this year's draft, he would be picked 3. Wow. So I don't even know why Essendon fans keep bagging Melbourne. They lost the trade. Interesting there. Essendon traded their 2024 for the first for Melbourne's 25 first. Right. Interesting. Wizard, I'm going to let Day bait me all over again. I've won nothing. Don't do it. Sheldrick, another decent mid-price next year. Yeah, totally agree. I reckon Sheldrick can definitely build next year as well. Even maybe Erasmus, who knows. Wizard probably start Shield again because Lightning can't strike twice, right? Oh, yeah, he's a shocking start, though, sometimes with Stewart. Quite an interesting pod. Been Jordan Clark, like we're scoring for. Yeah, again with Jordan, again with Laird, I just think there's question marks over him being arrested, especially because it looks like Adelaide are going to play finals. So, yeah, right. I think I thought about Laird when he's under 500k, brought him up. Just the DPP was sensational. He has been a good pick this year, definitely. That 50 was when he got subbed out, I believe, and then they rested him. Round 12 they rested him. And Brody Smith came in or something like that. Okay, that's what I was up to now. No, you guys are still actually going. I don't realize how many comments in the chat. What the hell? How you guys still? You guys are nuts. There's only like 23 chilling. So give us a like before you guys leave tonight. Where does it go any week? But this one, it's too expensive at 535. I'd rather Stewart and Bergman out of all those players. Oh, okay. I'll be hitting a wall. Just realised due to Whitfield's injury, I got a field made this week with Jezza trade as opposed to Clark with Gordon. Yeah, that's rough. Should make much difference. Jacob got Witt, got Zorko. Thoughts about Bergman. I actually like Bergman. I'd go there. I don't have Rankin or Warner, luckily. Well, there you go. There you go. They've been trashed. They have been. Hawksy go Jez this week. Horn Francis, if you don't know. I think Horn Francis, you got to wait a week or two until he turns around. I'm going Jez, Zakwa. Warner has a insanity run home. Actually, you could buy him. 60% CBAs last weekend. What's up, Aqua? It's your boy Ham is in the chat. Horse, long ago, Fife was the best player in the comp. Sad to watch him now. Yeah, absolutely. What a fall off. Obviously, age does that regression in terms of form. I was going to say Supercoach form. Haven't followed. What's up with Shed as well? It's playing forward, midfield, but mainly forward, really. Like half forward sort of thing, by the seams of it. I haven't been watching too much North, though, to be honest. Aqua, not much. Just pods. Yeah, been a bit of a pod night. Place, you got any movies to watch or TV shows to watch? I've actually been asking you guys because I haven't been watching too many. I can't even think off the top of my head either. Like I've been meaning to do some gaming, but got another little one, so I haven't watched any good ones. When Cyberpunk, I'm not sure if Cyberpunk was still on Netflix at the moment, but Cyberpunk was such a great watch on Netflix when it was. And then I watch a lot of anime, so Black Lagoon was one of my favorite animes. Death Note anime series was sick as well. Everyone's probably seen Peaky Blinders. That's pretty gangster. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of my favorite comedies. And I'm an absolute Dragon Ball Z fan. Like most of my tattoos, a lot of them are Dragon Ball Z. I got like a Dragon Ball Z calf sleeve actually. I got the Punisher on me, Spider-Man, all sorts of anime tattoos. So I'm an absolute nerd when it comes to that stuff. My favourite's probably Deadpool one I've got on my arm. Horsehead. Have you heard Butters has a sore foot from kicking Carson's ass? Boy Ham, thank God I got Grundy. Wow, yeah, you're lucky as. Wasn't saying against English. Houghton has something like 130 Supercoach first full game in the VFL. He's the best 22. He definitely is. Wait, he's so far behind. Yeah, I know. I didn't realise how far behind I was. Sorry. Hawksy, reckon Erasmus will be at West Coast next year? I have no idea. Good evening, Bradley. What's your favourite candle scent? Oh, that's a good one, actually, Coleman. Probably a caramel kind of smell. Caramel something. Anything caramel. Like that's my go-to coffee. I know chat's probably going to laugh, but I absolutely love a caramel latte. Normal milk, not almond milk or some shit like that, but definitely a caramel latte. Anything caramel smells good. I don't like salted caramel, though. Placey, only thing about Kennedy's I swear champion data. Yeah, no. Champion data sort of rip him off. Agreed. Jacobs in the house. It's ranking average 97 of a game where he was sub mid-game on 80. Doesn't feel that bad as for a forward. Yeah, you've got to take into account what I'm wondering. I prefer Pickett to Kennedy. Pickett's only always scored been due to attention. Yeah, that's fair too as well. Good point. Pickett had a huge CBA, 87, 87, 90 in the last three. Good pick-up. What games you play? Maybe a FIFA, man. I haven't been playing any, to be completely honest. Though. When I get a bit of downtime, I like to replay Hitman missions, like the new Hitman. When I say new Hitman, it's been out for a couple of years now, but on the PS5, that Hitman expansion pack is sick. I love replaying that. I bought the Star Wars open world game, which I've completely gone blank on this week, and I haven't got to play it yet. I was a big Fortnite guy about a year ago. And then, yeah, I haven't been able to game much. I've been watching series with the missus. I can't remember what we're watching at the moment. But we watched a couple random horrors the other night, but horrors always got poor storylines. And there was this one where we watched, that was in Sweden. I don't know if no one knows the name of it. It was like a horror in Sweden where they do this work company get away and do some activities and stuff. And basically there's this farmer, I don't want to give too much away. There's this farmer that they sort of take the land off, basically, to summarize it, and then someone comes for revenge. I won't say who comes for revenge. And the guy basically slashes the whole entire company on their little work vacation, including the workers and stuff. And you find out who it is at the end, but just dumb stuff like that where there's no real plot. It's just a real basic plot. And she's obsessed with those ones. So we've been watching a lot of that stuff, which is, yeah, I don't know. It's every girl's obsession is those slasher movies for some weird reason. I have no idea if they're psychotic or whatever. But and then they just have crime docos. So you end up watching weird crime docos where you're like, actually, I've got a story for you, chat. So a really funny story. Well, not really funny. So now you want to talk about a shorty story. So you want to come back to this at some point and tag your mate in it. I don't want to say where I am quite, but Thursday night, I think it was, I knocked off work at midnight, and then I'm moving all the cars away in the driveway and reshuffling because of midnight. So actually Wednesday night, I wake up to this bang, 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 bang. I was like, what the heck is that? So I get out of bed, and it sounded like someone was getting like home invasion kind of thing. And I noticed there was this car that was going nuts up and down before that when I was sort of moving the cars in the driveway and reparking because of the bins. And anyway, I tell the misso, because we've got a little one, I was like, just call the cops because I actually think something's going down here. So I go outside anyway while she's on the phone to him, and we report where we think it's coming from and whatever. And they don't come out for an hour and a half. So if there was someone actually there, I would have had to fend for myself. I've got a baseball bat, of course, but like, I went outside to check all the cars to make sure they were okay and nothing had been like smashed up or anything on our end. But we couldn't work out where it came from, but it was pretty close. Anyway, I'm in just the doorway of our front entrance, and I'm just waiting because the noises are all gone by then. I go check out the cars, and no one was waiting around the corner to jump me or anything. But I remember getting a weird feeling and being like, that was definitely some sort of break-in. So I end up just waiting there, and then I'm at the porch with my dog. My dog was going nuts at these sounds, hence why I actually woke up, to be honest. The dog went nuts, and the dog's pretty good guard dog. And there's this guy come around the corner, and he's in staunch mode, absolute staunch mode. For reference, I've been like Muay Thai and boxing in like the last 15 years, so I'm fine. But the misso's sitting next to me, and she's like, he's coming. You know when someone sort of like gives you a little bit of perceived pressure? So I'm pretty calm. The heart rate's not really going. But the ballsy guy sort of just like went up our driveway, went to open the gate, couldn't open the gate. So then he went around the front to open the front gate. Now, mind you, I'm ready to go. I didn't say a word. I just sort of stood at the porch with the light on. And then in the dark, he comes out and he's like, oh, it's the police. I'm like, man, the build up to that was intense because all we saw was this big, staunchy looking shadow coming from the shadow realm, appearing out of nowhere. Didn't say a word about the dog, didn't even blink at the dog barking the heck out of him. And anyway, had to give my statement, whatever. I found out there's like a couple doors next down, absolutely got smashed. And it was someone that they used to know or something, so it was a targeted thing. And I knew it was targeted because our cars weren't smashed up anyway. But I was more intense about not so much the smashing of all the sounds before that. It was more intense of the fact that I thought old mate was actually coming for us because we witnessed it. So I'm like standing at the front, and their heart's going, yeah, this could be something. What do you say if someone comes onto your property? Like, you're going to throw down to protect your family? There's no way you're not. I know I certainly would, especially with the circumstance I'm in. There's no way like you wouldn't protect your family. But yeah, found out the neighbours absolutely all their cars got smashed, and there's like 5 or 6 cars absolutely smashed up. The guy that saw it happen ended up recording the incident and actually gave it to the cops, etc. But I doubt anyone watched Supercoach to know where I'm talking about. But nor do I care, to be honest. But the intensity of those moments where you hear that loud bang, 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 bang in such a quiet suburb where I am, like, just sort of like put reality. Like, you're not expecting anything. I've been here for a few years now, and it's the first time I've ever come across anything like that. Anyway, about 2 nights ago, we saw that same car that did it come up and down this street, and the neighbours that it happened to, a couple of doors down, etc., come up and they showed me on the phone. They showed me, they're like, oh, is it this car? I'm not going to say what car it is because it's a small world. We know that. I said, yeah, it was. And I said, yeah, we know exactly what it was. Now, whether it was for whatever reason, I'm not going to conspiracy because it could be totally wrong and they could watch this or their friend might know somebody, whatever. But you just kind of think, like, what the heck is wrong with people? Like, why do they got to sort it out like that? But yeah, talk about that last comment there, talking about a jump scare over nothing. It was very, very strange that where I am, that would happen. But I think the thing that gave me the shits the most is if that was a scenario where it was someone coming into my place and the fact that the cops rocked up an hour to an hour and a half late, like, you're going to have, that just proved to me that you're going to have to defend yourself. Like, there's no way they're coming in 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. And it's not like the cop shop is that far away from you. So, yeah, I don't know if they're tied up on a Wednesday night, but why? Why does it take them so long to come out? And, like, it was pretty urgent, to be fair, too. Like, it was 1 a.m. when it happened, and that was just a weird night. Anyway, I'm sorry I diverted, but I thought I'd go to story time. So, yeah, for reference, Placey, 1 a.m. Anyway, enough of that random stuff. I'm sure I'll get asked a few more questions on that maybe, but Aqua says Scott Cozzy, he pulled a hell of a pod. Mentioned Jez. My story time probably is a little bit different to Shorty's story time, but we went there tonight. Aqua, Cozzy is safer. Yeah, probably. Tom, hey brother, how you going, brother? Horses, Placey, good TV series. Yeah, this is the one you left on my comment the other day. I screenshot it, so I've got to actually watch these ones as well. So thanks for that. Caramel lattes. I agree, Jacob. They're my favourite coffee ever. Aqua, my favourite TV series is Supercoach Pro 12 a.m. live streams, new episodes 3 times a week. Oh, I've been pretty consistent this year, I think. I'm an iced coffee person. Yeah, bloody oath. I do love a good iced coffee. Anyway, back to Supercoach, aren't we now? I get so distracted too, especially when things like that happen. Like, you just gotta tell the people what they don't want to hear. Ham, 5 trades left with Erasmus and McCarthy outscoring Shees. Bont, Chera, who do you trade out? Probably Sheasel if you had to. Oh, Jesus. Aqua, do you own Whitfield? I don't either. If not, trade Shees to Whit. Whitfield's not playing, and Shees is, so he probably wouldn't do it. It'd be next week like you've written. Jacob, I want to go down TDK and somehow work in both Pickett and McKercher to still have a boost. I don't mind it. At least you've got a boost, but how many trades you got left? Horse, Aqua, do you watch these TVs on a laptop, tablet, or phone? In the bed, laptop. Sorry, that got me dying. Well played, Aqua. Very good. I love a good horror movie. Yeah, well, that was my own little horror movie for that night. Don't have Whitfield. Also the bed. I think this is maybe the reaction from that story about across the road. You know, it's really funny too. Like, I was going to say I'm not a sticky bag, but I ended up walking the dog that night, not long after, because I couldn't really sleep after that. I was a little bit like, what if they come back and they come here and they've seen that I turned on the front porch light, or you run through a few scenarios because you never know. But I ended up walking the dog just to see the outcome of the damage, and my gosh, they were only in and out for like 30 seconds for a minute, but I looked at all the cars that got damaged that quickly, and that was a lot. They clearly planned it. But yeah, definitely an interesting scenario to go through. But anyway, Tom is 344 rank overall. Wow. One white grab to make. No cash, though, to get the 23rd. Should I sit on McCarthy? Wait, I think you sit on McCarthy and just use him as your primo, to be honest. Or trade a 500 to 550k and turn into 2 mid prices with high ceilings. You could do that, like a Jeremy Cameron and something like that. Yeah, I don't mind splitting him. Again, depends how many trades you got, though. Boy Ham says McCarthy, 99k primo. Agreed. Zinger Burger with supercharged sauce. I probably got to go soon too. Play so you can get the baseball bat out. I definitely did. Placing nothing like a jump scare, and then it being nothing. Yeah, literally. Like, old mate should have at least said it was the police when it happened. Rookie, I've got bias. I've got a bias. What? Bias? Old solid wood field hockey stick. Oh, right. Had a gunfight happen a couple of blocks away. Wow. Then a few months ago, like you, I was full protection mode for the missile. Yeah, you definitely do that. A bias old solid wood stick. Yeah, thank God for that. A hockey stick in a gunfight, though. Jeez, Rookin, you're a big unit, so Tom Stewart with a hockey stick's pretty intimidating, to be fair. A gunfight, though, that's way more intense than the guys that jumped down that car and did what they did to the old mate around the corner. But yeah, that would have been something else, hearing some gunshots. But it literally what it sounded like too, to be honest, Rook. Like, yeah, I was kind of in disbelief that something like that would happen. I've never really thought much of it, but you certainly go into protective mode and sort of think, what if this happened? Whoops. What if scenarios? I don't know if you can hear my mic now, but just dropped it. Should be okay. It took me so long to read what you were saying about that. I got so confused. Coleman, if you could be any fruit, what would it be and why? Jeez. Dog's going nuts. I'd probably be a banana and hopefully get eaten by the right gender. Is that even a question I can say? I'm joking. Placey, that's crazy that the cops were that long. What time was it? 1 a.m. Yeah, or like 12:55. Love the story time. Should I do more story time? Like, if I have these things again, would you guys be keen for more story time? I don't got too many crazy ones like that, but I've certainly got enough to give you one a night for a while, like a bedtime story. Hawksy, so Jezza F6, you reckon? Yeah, I probably do. My forwards are Baz, Track, Kennedy, Darcy, Daniel. I'd go Jezza, but worried about two key forwards. Yeah, but you think Darcy's pretty safe, and Jezza's got a good run home. Jacob, add Fallout. Yeah, Fallout's a good one, actually. I actually need to finish that one with the misso. Placing might have to give us a couple each video stream. All right, you're on. I'll have to go back through the memory bank and see what we got. But definitely Melbourne days were quite interesting, actually. Coleman, how can you not feel safe with Brad Easy bodyguard? Yeah, I don't know. My housemate always, my old housemate from New Zealand, he appears in the chat sometimes, but he'll tell you some stories, and he'd always hear something and he'd go, "Oh, Brad, can you go at the front? Can you go check what that is?" Remember one night, this is actually quite funny. This is a good one. This is in COVID. It was like, we both had COVID, and if I was a phone, I would have been on like 5%. I was so wrecked. I'm hearing this ticking sound, and I'm not even kidding. It sounded like a bomb. And I'm like sitting there going, there's someone literally made a homemade bomb out the front of my house because it is ticking exactly like the movies were ticking. And we're searching the backyard, couldn't find it. We go to the front yard and it got really loud. And that's when I got nervous. I was actually like, someone's planted this. If I knock this thing over, it would actually explode. And again, I grabbed the baseball bat actually this time. Once again, I love the old baseball bat. And it came louder from the bin. I was like, someone's put it in the bin. Or this is actual proper plan here. Stupid me probably should have. I didn't want to call bomb squad either because I thought that was a bit of an exaggeration, especially for them to come out where we live. I thought that would have been like, what the hell? So stupidly enough, I grabbed the baseball bat and sort of just poked at the bin. I didn't like hit the bin with full intention in case it exploded, but I poked at the bin, and then amongst this pile of rubbish, it started beeping louder. And I'm like, oh my God, Geordie. I'm like, get inside in case this thing goes off. I'm going to try to find it without setting it off. Stupidest idea. Anyway, we're on COVID time, so we're absolutely wrecked anyway. So we're not thinking straight. We're pretty much walking out of the house like we're zombies anyway. And I remember seeing it, and I had such a relief on my face because I removed the rubbish on top of it, and it was a bloody smoke alarm that was like half not sitting in its place right. But the smoke alarm, I don't know what brand it was, but the smoke alarm brand literally sounded like a bomb from the movies. And I showed Geordie, and I'm like, you wouldn't believe what the hell happened. The smoke alarm guy came in that morning. Now, we didn't hear the smoke alarm go off in the bin the whole entire day until the night at like 2 a.m. Somehow, when we'd put the bins out at night, must have moved the battery in a weird spot of the smoke alarm. Hence why when we woke up in cold sweats from COVID, that we thought something had gone in the bin that potentially shouldn't have. And it was the weirdest moment ever because I full expected, not that I've got really enemies, for the bin to explode and for me to lose half an arm or a baseball bat or something. But that's another weird one for you. But it's 2 in one night, so I don't know if I can tell you any more because it's Supercoach and I've just totally diverted to story time on COVID demon time. Anyway, so distracted. Horse, what do you think about Shorty going into his mate's house to get his keys back? What do you think about Shorty going to his mate's house to get his key back? Shorty might leave. I haven't heard about the war prank. I may have to watch some of his things recently. I haven't really been watching much at all in terms of content. I've actually sort of been caught up in baby life, I guess. Jacobs has 7 trades left. That's a good position to be in. Yeah, agreed. Gunfight Australia is pretty crazy for Rook. Tom, 4 trades, bro, on my previous comment. Okay. Yep, my bad. 20K in the bank. You recommend just sitting McCarthy as the 23rd and then use remaining trades for luxuries? I'd say so, Tom. I'd probably just do that. Yeah. I want to finish top 200, always around this mark after buys and then fall off completely with 4 or 5 rounds left. Well, what's made you fall off in the last couple of years then? What? Yeah, Aqua, I knew you'd like that one. I had one a few years ago when my car got egged overnight and came out to my car before work with egg all over it. It was strange. Do any other cars have egg on it? Aqua, last injury trade on Erasmus to a 400k odd mid forward whenever I strike an injury would be lovely. Fair, Hawksy. I came out of work the other day. Here we go. Parked in a different spot to normal, and somehow someone scraped the front left panel of my car. And it's still hanging off a little. Still haven't had time to fix it. Yeah, I wonder if anyone's got any other like weird stories as well. I don't mind reading them. 25 promo. Plays the oh wow. Imagine if you called the bomb squad. Yeah, that would have been wild. I would have felt so stupid. I accidentally kicked some bloke's number plate clean off the front of a car running through the parking lot. How do you accidentally do that? That's wild. Felt guilty, but my legs aren't that strong, so it must have been held on very well. Mustn't have. Car was a bit there as well. Good night, that one, the begs, but you too, Carmen. Cheers. Tim missed the stream last night. That's okay, mate. All good. Average score of 1921 and dropped 47 spots, sitting at 1400, and glad to see the end of the buys. Me too. Hope for a strong finish of the season at the end, at least top 1K. Yeah, same here, mate. Absolutely, Tim. Aqua, if you were to trade anybody this round, who would it be? Players, you can never get enough of these stories. Yeah, I got a few, but they're just a different sort of variety. They're always a bit weird. I got a few. I don't know if I really want to tell them. Maybe I'll save it for the off season. But I got a creepy horror story, a couple creepy. I don't know if you guys believe in paranormal activity, but I've had about 6 incidences of paranormal stuff. None in the last 3 or 4 years, but I didn't believe in it until it actually started happening about 15 years ago, and that was really strange, to be honest. I won't go into it. You guys will think I'm nuts. Aqua, boy, Callahan or Jez? I'll go Callahan. Hawks, yeah, Shorty is a big pranking war, and his mate against him had his house keys, so he's pretty much broken in and stole it back, and then stole their house key. What the hell? Placey, no, other cars had no egg on it. Must have been in the middle of the night. Yeah, okay. Maybe a bit of a target, maybe. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. That's a weird one. Aqua, who's been in the Coleman this year? Oh, don't even know. I haven't actually looked at the Coleman, Aqua. Tom, I always running on trades at 4 or 5 rounds remaining, so pretty much 2 to 3 promos down. Wherever you're going down, I'm able to trade, so I'll take your advice and just hold these trades for injured row. You know, I Tom, I'll do that. Maybe I'll give you one paranormal story and go, and you guys are probably going to think I'm nuts for this one, but get your popcorn then. All right, it's 11:10. I can't believe I'm going to share this on the internet. So he says, good luck for the rest of the season. Hope you finish strong. Same, mate. Thank you. Oh, jeez. Oh, I could tell you about the Stalker one, actually. That Stalker one was quite wild too. Maybe I'll save the paranormal one for another night and tell you the Stalker one. But he wants a paranormal one. Jeez. There's a really good paranormal one I want to save, though. You're not nuts. I've had one too. Ooh, interesting. You have to let me know what that was. Aqua, my midfield right now is Butters, Dacos, Dawson, Rao, Bont, Stewart, Neal, Dunks. I'll try Rao, Flex, and Loop, Rankin, and Tom McCart. I don't know, mate. Tim's saying, give us the paranormal one. Oh, my God. Oh, my, okay. I'll do this. I'll do that one next time. That one was a strange one as well. I totally forgot about that one horse. That was wild. Do I just go into story mode? All right, Hawksy says it's still 4 put Jez a better pick. Probably Jez. Oh, jeez. Tell us both. Tell us the Stalker one, boss. Okay, so all right, we're going back a couple of years back, right? And I met this chick, and like she was out sort of the western suburbs way, and everything was all right at the start, as it normally is with those sort of people. Like you sort of just figure them out. And I remember my mum rang one day when we were out to watch a basketball game, and just to move this story along, because I can't remember how I explained it last time, but after the basketball game, I was driving in my car, and I said to my mum at the time, I'm just with a friend, and I didn't think anything of it, but she cracked it, and she's like, oh, why don't you tell her that we're dating or we're going to be dating, etc. Why do you call me just a friend? So I didn't really think anything of it, and she was just really weird about it. And then I remember just thinking that there's something off about her. Like, she was really passive aggressive and very strange the way she'd respond and disappear and then come back when it suited her. And I can't remember the crazy things she was doing now when I told this story the first time, but because I sort of blocked it out because it was actually quite daunting and just weird. I remember we had an argument one time, and I had housemates here, and she was like, "Oh, I'm on the way. I'm coming down here because we need to sort this out." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "We need to sort this out, or else I'm done. I'm done." Anyway, acting psycho, I said, "You're not driving here. It's 3 a.m, and the red flag here was she'd got done for drink driving, and I'd only ever picked her up. Anyway, for some reason, she knew exactly where I was, and obviously I was at home, but I never saw her put. Suppose you probably do put your maps in when you go to other people's places, even if you're not driving, maybe. But anyway, she was like, "I'm on my way." Didn't get here anyway. I can't remember the ending on how it ended, but I remember it just completely went to absolute shit. But the moral of the story actually was when I Google searched her, because my mate was like saying how that there was so many red flags of her, and it's probably not the best story because I've forgotten all what had happened, sort of blocked it out of my memory. But we looked her up on Google. I can't say her name for public record, but we found out that she had stalking charges, broke into her ex's house, beat the absolute living daylights out of him, and pleaded guilty to it, and then changed her name. So we found stalking charges on her. Then we found like an aggravated burg charge because she broke into the house, and also found like domestic abuse charges from this chick that I'd absolutely dodged a bullet from. But I remember leading up to it, just all these weird red flags. I sort of thought, nah, she's okay. She's just a normal, 26, 27-year-old, whatever. But yeah, probably the scary thing was when I saw the articles of pages and pages in the Herald Sun, and this is not even that long ago, actually, of what she was guilty for. And I've never been in that scenario before, but for someone to actually, like, if she had came over at 3 or 4 a.m. and actually started doing that, like, it'd be very hard if someone was that strong not to respond in an equal manner. I'm not saying I would do it, but it was just very strange that someone could be that way and you think they're completely normal. But I can't remember the rest of the details. Whoever mentioned that, I think it was Horse there, because it was the weirdest chick to ever sort of come across with that actually was an absolute complete psycho. And then she ended up posting my YouTube channel, that's right, on her Instagram, and was like, oh, I said to her, so what I said was this, is her ex at the time, she said that he beat her up, which wasn't the case. When I found out the Herald Sun stories, I found out that she beat him up, but she changed the complete story. Anyway, so she tagged my Supercoach YouTube channel on her Instagram story and was like, oh, this guy believes in this and this and this, and made up all these things about my channel. So I actually had to change something about my channel. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was the profile photo, etc. And I had to get her to stop all these BS rumors that she made. For 3 months on, my mate kept stalking her Instagram on a burner account to see what she's doing, and she's still trying to put my channel, saying that I'd agreed to a certain comment that she painted her own narrative for. And the comment was, I didn't advocate for this because obviously I've got a sister. I'm really close with my mum. I'm very close with my sister, and I'm very close with a lot of my girl mates. She wrote, just because I said to her in the heat of the moment, I said, no wonder your ex actually threw hands at you, which was not the right thing to say at context, but it was saying that basically you're crazy enough. I understand why he threw hands. Not saying that that was okay for him to do. But then when I found out she was the one that did it to him, and I said something like that, she made it to say that I was like advocating that's okay to hit. And I was like, that is not what I said. don't throw my name into drag. I said, you're just so crazy that no wonder people go crazy back at you. That was what I was implying, not to say this was the right thing. So she screenshots my channel, tries to make me absolute all his followers, etc. And then months later, I get a message saying, "Oh, do you want to go on a date?" And he's like, "What the hell is wrong with people?" And yeah, for reference, Tim, yes, I don't think I can name, but I can give you a hint. It starts with K, and that's all I can say. It starts with K. I don't even know if I can say sort of what Nacho, or else that might give it away. But yeah, it's probably one of the most intense things I've ever been through, where someone actually trying to drag your name through the mud and make shit up about you that you that's not you. That was very confronting, and at the time I'd only been doing this channel for 2 years, so it's something I worked hard on, and I didn't want to be run through by somebody that's got serious charges and allegations and pleaded guilty of this crazy stuff, and she's trying to make me look like the bad person in a breakup and whatever. So that was weird. But yeah, no, it starts with K, Tom. Anyway, Aqua, you could flip a coin, Hawksy. I want to hear both. I'll do the. Oh, jeez. I'll do the horror story, but I'm pretty sure you guys won't be able to sleep after that. I'm not even joking. Harry, g'day, pro. If I had a 23rd, would you prefer McKercher, McRae, or Darcy? Probably McRae, because at least he gets CBAs. Aqua, one price, Kirch. On pure points, scoring McRae. Yeah, okay, he's giving his 2 cents. Give us a like for the stream, and so it would have been a little bit different tonight. It's been more story time. Hit me out. Hogan wouldn't be bad either. Not a bad shout, actually. Double dummy. Hey, mate, I got lucky this week. I only had 19, but managed 18 and 68. Hogan is interesting. I'd rather Jezza as well. Toby, Greene, or Dangerfield for that price. Tom, are you at Melbourne? I'm not, but this person was in Melbourne. I think I dead set know who you're talking about. I wonder if you do. Give me a hint, Tom, and I'll confirm or deny. If you give me some hints in the chat, I might not put the chat on the screen, but I'll certainly reply to you in here. I'd definitely get in trouble for that, I think. That's crazy. Yeah, it was weird. Paranormal. All right, Paranormal, and that's it, I reckon, after this. Sounds like it talks away. Yeah, she was weird. Say about stuff like this. Yeah, I know. Oh, I like it. I've got a good in this, though. Blink twice if it's definitely not Katie. Horse, Tim C. Katie wouldn't be 26 for another 8 years. Well, Aqua, completely forgot danger exists. Yeah, literally. How much is he? All right, let's do the Paranormal and then we'll call it a night. I honestly think if it's anything, I'd rather Jack Martin. All right, now chat. This is a story that I'm actually not prepared for. So we're going to go back all the way to when would have this been? I reckon 2012 chat. So now for reference, I was living in a place called Kilsyth, and this is a little bit of a dark one, actually, quite dark, and something I've opened up before about, and so it starts a little bit strange, and it probably gets a little bit weird as we go through. So my grandpa, to give you reference for this house, he had fallen off a ladder cleaning the gutters when I was 6 years old. So I don't know how many years ago that was, but 28 years ago now. And he unfortunately passed away in hospital. And my grandma at the time she doesn't speak English very well. She's not with us anymore, God bless. But she used to say once he'd passed that she could hear voices in the house, and she believed she could hear him, and she believed that something was in the house and something wanted to enter the house. And she believed for years that something was coming for this house. And she'd say that, but in Macedonian, she'd basically imply that something was coming here at a time. And we just thought maybe this is an early sign of dementia. So I didn't really know him very well, so it was an interesting one because once my grandma had moved from this place in particular, she went to a nursing home, and I moved in there. I don't want to name a straight name, but I had such a weird vibe with this house ever since my grandma and grandpa had moved there. And we had this weird dim white light. You know how some of the lights in old houses, this house for reference is probably 60, 70 years old, had those white globes, not those yellow, orangey globes. It was like a white, disgusting light, like a really white, I can't even, like a wall white. Anyway, if that wasn't weird enough for like a vibe of a house, the gate was a really high fence. It was old wooden fence. There was a huge gum tree in the front, huge woggy backyard. At night, the place looked like a horror film, a proper horror film. It looked intensifying scary. At the end of the street was a park, a dark, creepy, shitty park. And even for someone at my age, at early 20s, I hated living there because it just felt so unsafe. And I've never really been much of a huge drinker. I mean, early days, yeah, sure. But this night I had nothing to drink whatsoever. It was a Saturday night. I believe it was about 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, roughly. And my mate who was living with me at the time, which I'm not going to name names, decides to come home. And before he comes home, I didn't have a cold or a fever or anything. I woke up with cold sweats and I felt really strange. There was something in my body that told me something not sitting right with me, and I didn't know what it was. I got this gut feeling when my stomach dropped and I was laying in bed. And when your stomach drops when you're laying in bed, you know something's not right. So I sort of didn't know what to think. And I remember having my phone on charge, and I always sleep my phone charged, even up until this point today. So the phone's on charge. I wake up and I feel this eerie feeling. I started sweating like you wouldn't believe, like disgusting. You've just done a 20-minute treadmill session, and I'm starting to feel nausea, like very sick in the throat and in the chest. And my mate Matt comes into the door, and I stupidly say, "Whatever it is, don't bring it in the house." And I said, "Whatever it is, don't bring it in the house." And that's the first thing that came to my mouth. Wasn't don't bring her in the house, don't whatever. It was don't bring it in the house. And I sort of didn't have control of that. I sort of just freaked out. That's the first thing I said. Anyway, I hear this weird voice and sort of whispering, and I couldn't make out what it was. And Matt's like, I'm here with no one. I don't know what you're talking about. My body just dropped because I know he's just full of it. Because he was an absolute player. I was like, there's some chick with him. There's no way he's come home without bringing a bird. Anyway, so I just lay in bed and I'm like, something still doesn't feel right. Don't go to the door, whatever you do, Brad. So I don't go to the door, and then I hear this scratching on my door going past, sort of like someone was scratching the wall on the door as they go past to sort of say hello without saying hello. Instantly, I felt weird. I was like, this doesn't feel right. So walk down the hallway, I can hear the footsteps. The door closes, and then my mate comes through the front door as well, goes to the house, and he joins them. So he closes the door too, and I'm like, okay, maybe they've brought some friends home. They're having a few drinks. Maybe I'm just going absolutely crazy here. Maybe I've lost my marbles, whatever, just go back to sleep. Anyway, one of my mates, let's just call him X. My mate X comes back to my room, opens the door like fast as anything. I'm sitting in bed for reference, like sitting up, like what the heck is going on? And he grabs me by the face here. He's like, something's not right. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? And he's like, I got this girl here. Something's not right. There's something in her eyes that doesn't make sense to me. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I feel absolutely sick. Is this person what makes you feel weird? Am I going nuts? Then he turns around and I didn't know what to think of this. He was like, her eyes are pure black. And I was like, oh my God, okay, is she demonic? Like, is she something else? Is she possessed? Is she, like, what is she? Anyway, my gut dropped when he said her eyes were just pure, pretty much black. I'm just like, oh my God, no wonder I feel sick. Maybe it is the paranormal. And I remember the thing, I want to call it the thing, and you'll understand why, surely. Basically calling him back, but this in this eerie freaking tone that I can't explain. It just didn't sound human. And I thought, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sit right. I feel sicker every time it's here. I begin to just feel nauseous even more so, and just really nervous. Anyway, he goes back to the room and he's like there for about 5-10 minutes, and there's more chatting. He runs back to my room this time, like absolutely sprints, comes to my room. He goes, we need to get it out of here. I didn't think anything of it until he said, we need to get it out of here. And my gut just dropped, like my stomach dropped to the floor. And I'm like, what do you mean it? He's like, I don't think it's a girl. I think it's possessed, or it's demonic, or there's something else inside this thing. I'm like, what are you talking about, Matt? Like, what the hell are you talking about? So I'm stressing out. Like, I'm absolutely stressing out. So even talking about it, I've actually got bloody neck hair standing up. And I remember he's like, can we use your phone and call a taxi to get it out of here? When he keeps saying get it out of here, it made me more nervous. So I dialed 13 cabs at the time because Uber wasn't existing. And 13 cabs just goes straight, just beep, 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 beep. My phone goes off, complete off. It's on 100% charge. It goes off, right? I'm just absolutely terrified at this point. I'm like, what the hell is this thing controlling the power sources? Like, I'd been watching Supernatural for years, and it felt like a Supernatural episode that I was caught in, and I was just some horror. I was hoping to wake up from this dream, basically. I was hoping it was some nightmare, and I was going nuts. So he grabs his phone, it's on like 20%. Like, it's pretty low because he's been out the clubs all night. And he goes to ring the same company. Bang. The phone dead. Just like that. My phone's back on charge at this point. Turn the phone back on. It reboots finally. Try again. This time we got through. He was like, oh, we're about 10 minutes away. I'm like, oh my God, how are you going to stall this, and how are you going to get it out of here? Like, what's the actual go here? Like, what's the game plan? Because it doesn't feel right. So anyway, he's like, I'm going to try to convince her to go back to our mate's place. Let's call him Y, because there's two dudes and they're my mates, and there's this chick there with them. So he's like, let's go back to Y's place because he lives 20 minutes away, out Mount Evelyn or whatever it was. I think Mount Evelyn, out that way, which is not far from Kilsyth for reference. Maybe it's a bit longer, I can't remember, but it's been a while since I lived in the eastern suburbs. And so the thing starts walking down the hallway, but this time the steps were really heavy. So I'm sitting there going, oh, this is not right. Anyway, so Matt quickly gets out of my room, shuts the door. The thing, or whatever it was, goes, what's in there? I need to see it. I need to get in there. I need to get in there. And I was like, I was under my bed at this point. I was like, when something says it needs to get in there and it starts like sort of hissing and howling and snaring and whatever the hell, I could hear the scratches on my door. And then I just hear this boof, this thud. And one of my mates had been completely thrown off onto the ground into the lounge room because it was a heavy hit. And I thought maybe something happened to this chick. No, it was my mate. For reference, my mate's about 95 kg, 6'1". Absolutely sat on his ass, right? And that's why I'm under the bed, because I had a bad feeling this thing was demonic. So then, oh God, anyway, and everything makes sense at the end of this story, but he got up a while after this had happened, for reference. So he's on the floor right now. Matt's gone to grab this thing to get it off the door handle, and then I hear another At this point, I'm like, I hope it's Matt just knocking this possessed demon woman, whatever the thing is, out cold. He's on the ground. He's like, ah. I'm like, oh. I'm like, this ain't it. This ain't it. We're going to die tonight from some supernatural thing. We're going to have our limbs teared apart, and it's going to be on the news, and people are going to think, what the hell happened here? So at this point, I never believed in paranormal things. I never believed in any of that shit. I thought it was all absolute BS. So I'm under the bed, which is funny for a guy that was at the time like 22, 23 years old, whatever. But my gut feeling told me it wasn't human. So my gut feeling told me that you couldn't handle fighting this thing. And my mates reference a lot bigger than I am. And especially back then, a lot stronger than what I was. I'll happily admit that. And they got thrown. And the thing was looking for me. I will still call it the thing to this day because you understand in about the next 2 minutes. Looking for me. And this is where it got weird. It started going, like trying to sniff you, like trying to sense your smell. And that's when my gut I almost vomited on the floor then and there. And I remember just thinking, oh my gosh, whatever it is, please go away. Like just whatever it is, it's got to go. Like, or else we're all dead here. So I'm pretty much at this point terrified for my life, and I didn't know how to explain to my friends because I thought I'm absolutely crazy. And thank God there was 3 of us that came out of this telling the same story, because I'd be in a white padded cell by now if they didn't believe this. And I remember it was searching the whole entire room and couldn't find me. It didn't all come to the bed for whatever stupid reason. Mind you, I was pretty much all in black anyway. I was in my black hoodie and black trackies, and you could barely see me anyway. Thank God I was wearing black that night. But it then decides to go away. I hear my mates, the 2 of them wake up, and they're sort of all groggy and whatnot. And they're like, oh. And Matt's, I shouldn't actually name drop. Anyway, he said to them, all right, let's go. And he sort of played it off like that nothing ever happened to sort of convince the thing that everything's okay, which was actually a smart play instead of reacting and trying to fight it off, because I think they both realised that the thing was too strong then and there. So he's like, let's go to Y's house up in Mount Ev. And she's like, yes. Like just this, yes. To hear like a yes, like a demonic sound out of her voice was terrifying, because I want to paint a picture and you're going to think this is absolute BS. So when I was under the bed and I was looking at the feet and I could see the body up, I couldn't see the face. I definitely couldn't see the face. But she had been in like a white dress, not like a white wedding dress or anything stereotypical, but like just this white normal casual dress, black hair, and I couldn't see any eyes. I could not see any eyes whatsoever. And it was like the thinnest looking size 8, size 6 thing you've ever seen. Not tall at all, like maybe 5'7" at best. If you had to guess, 45 to 50 kilos. But through my mates who are, for context, 85 and 95 kilos off. One's the 85 kilo guy would have been 5'10". My 6'1" guy mate was like 90 odd kilo, and threw him off in a heartbeat. So they were walking to the cab that finally came, and I was so terrified for my friends that I didn't know if they're going to come back again. Now, one of them's not with us today. I'm not even joking about that, unfortunately. I won't get into why, but there is one that is. And they got into the cab, and when they got into the cab, I can feel it in my body now. Honestly, telling the story, I can feel all the emotions again. So I'm actually struggling, to be honest. When they'd left the cab, it took me about 3 or 4 minutes for my body to sort of release that sickening feeling, that feeling of, oh, I'm okay now. Now, the reality check for me was, at this point, that had all gone. So this is where the shit gets really weird. So I hope you still got popcorn left for the next 3 minutes. So Matt calls me on my phone. Oh, my God, I name dropped again. I can't help it because I just keep remembering this like it was yesterday. And he's like, I'm on my way back. And I was like, what do you mean you're on your way back? Why aren't you with old mate in Mount Evelyn? And he's like, I'll tell you later, but the thing's got a bit weird. I'm coming back. I get a call again. He's at the front. He's like, I need to speak to you. Please come to the front. Right. I walk to the car. I didn't know what to think. The taxi driver looked at me, sort of dead stared into me soul basically, and he looked into me eyes and was just like, said nothing for a good 30 seconds, right? And I was waiting for him to say whatever he felt the need to say, because my mate called me for a reason, and they both couldn't say what they wanted to say. The taxi driver left me with the weirdest things that still give me the chills to this day. He quote unquote said, I've been driving cabs for years, but whatever that thing was not human. Whatever that thing was not human. He goes, I've never felt so sick in all my years of driving a cab, but the minute I released it and I went to that house, I instantly felt better. I didn't feel sick, but he said I felt cold sweats. He goes, I felt my neck hairs stand up my... He goes, I didn't want to come to this place because my gut was telling me not to come here. And he goes, I wish I never came here because I think I'm going to quit my job. He goes, after seeing what I saw, that thing, your friend is absolutely gone, right? He convinced us that our friend the next morning was absolutely gone. So this is where it gets even weirder. So at that point, I'm like, okay, everything is real that happened. Everything is legit. I'm not losing my mind. A cab driver that's completely sober is just driven my mates up to Mount Ev. This is the real deal. So we end up ringing my mate. I'm actually nervous talking about this. And this is what got me spooked the most, I guess, is we ring my mate and nothing's going through. I reckon there's maybe 13 or 14 missed calls, 7 of each on our phone, just from probably 10 a.m. onwards, because we know what he's like. So probably 2 or 3 p.m., right? He rings us back, maybe 3:15 in the afternoon. Now, we're too hungover to drive, and I don't know why we didn't decide to get a taxi there, but I'm pretty sure we were probably shit scared to go there, to be honest. And we call him and we're like, hey, man, how you doing? And he's like, yeah, man, no, good. My head's a little bit sore. Body's a little bit sore, but that's pretty standard from drinking, isn't it? We're like, yeah, that's standard. Yeah, sure. Anyway, my mate Matt decides to go. So how was she that night? Like, how is she still there? He turns around and goes, like you could hear him sort of pace to the house. This confusion. He's so silent, and we're like, what's going on here? Like, why can't he answer this question? He then goes, what girl? What girl? Who are you talking about? We're like, the girl you got dropped off up in Mount Ev. What do you mean, what girl? Anyway, we had no idea what to say to that. Like, we thought he was taking the mick, but he wasn't. He was legit. So we found out later that my two friends had met her at a place, I think it was the Dorset or something like that, up Croydon way. Dorset Hotel. I got to remember the place again. But anyway, there's a thirsty camel at the front. She basically had no ID on her. She had no purse, nothing on it, no identification. But they were just like, hey, you want to come back and have a bit of a house party at ours, blah, 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 blah. That's how they met her. All they knew was her apparent name, which was probably BS. But old mate had no shoes, was wearing a dress, and had no identification. But they decided to play silly buggers and go, hey, want to hang out with us tonight? Blah, blah. Well, for obvious reasons, but like, what the hell? Why would you do that? So FPL, maybe it was the Dorset then, because that's where the thirsty come on thinking, I haven't been there in 11 years, like, for context of living there. So, yeah, so that was probably the strangest thing I've ever gone through, in terms of, I never believed there was anything like that. But I think the moment that hit home were two things. Was A, the fact the cab driver said whatever that thing was, it wasn't human. And B, my mate completely not remembering anything that happened. So, yeah, till this day, I've had about 5 other instances, and we'll go through them through some other lives, because this has been so un-Supercoach relevant, and I don't want to keep doing this. But That's probably the most intense one I've ever been to. And it was quite wild. So get through these last few comments and we'll call it a night because story time took 20 minutes. Popcorn is out. I hope you went through your popcorn and chocolate. Hopefully that was a good one to finish on. Hopefully not too concerned. But yeah, it was definitely an eye opener. And definitely now when people tell me paranormal or ghost stories, I 100% believe them. Tim C. Starts with K. Now I understand the beef with Kelly Underwood. Horse. Tim C. got a lot of beef involved with that one. 100%. Was he already brought home or someone else? Was it a girl he bought? I thought it was something else. Double dummy, Mount Evers, where my sister lives. Oh my God. Yeah, it was getting intense, that story. Holy. I remember it so clearly too. That's what sticks with me. Like, this is almost, this is pretty much a decade ago more. And it sticks so well. So this wasn't a nightmare. No, it wasn't, because the cab driver confirmed that, and so did my mate the next morning. So what, this thing dropped both of your friends? Yeah, correct. I don't even know how, but all I heard was 2 thuds and they were on the ground on their back by the sound of it. But yeah, that's basically what it was. And when I asked him, he just said it barely even, he explained it in a way like the resistance that they had standing their ground, that thing just flung them with barely any movement in its arm. Like, it just sort of, and they were done. Like, that's something where it's probably possessed. Like, you see what they do in those possessed movies, and it's got to be it. Placey on the edge of my seat. That's definitely the Dorset. There aren't many thirsty comers around. Yeah, like I said, that must have been the one. But yeah, anyway, it was pretty crazy, and it's in Bayswater and Croydon. It was definitely the Croydon one. So yeah, my heart was racing. Placey, what? So the girl was out and she got taken over. I don't know. So I never figured this part out, right? So I never figured out. We never as a collective figured out where in this point that this girl was taken over. Like, was she taken over before they picked her up? Was she taken? Like, we don't know any of it. Oh, okay, my computer's going to die. I forgot to put my charger in. But we never found out any of that. So, well, your heart would have been racing. It was probably racing the most it's ever raced, to be honest. It raced more than what it did a couple of nights ago when I thought old mate was coming to finish us off after smashing those cars up. Mine was racing, just hearing it. Eventually, have you spoken to any specialists about it? No, but I probably should. I probably should ask them, but I've always been sort of like skeptical of their take because I know what I saw and I don't want them to put other ideas in my head that it was something else. Tim said, did the last mate with her ever remember? Yeah, so my mate that came back remembered, the one that came back in the cab, but the guy that went out to Mount Evelyn with her did not remember whatsoever. Like, he didn't remember at all. And he's not with us anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, he didn't remember a single thing. He thought we were joking. He doesn't remember it all. Well, it doesn't, or didn't, whatever you want to call it now. But yeah, I don't know what it could have been, but ghost people might know. But I think it was more, for me, like just on my take, I think it was more possession, or maybe worse than that. Maybe it was demonic, because whatever it was so powerful. And just hearing the thing was so scary that when I told some of my friends, I think they thought I was going crazy, but thank goodness my other 2 mates at the time too told the exact same story. So it all matched. We weren't like thrown in a loony bin, but crazy he didn't remember. Yeah, like this is the thing. So when I say it all matched, so he remembers coming back. He remembers coming back to the actual place, but he doesn't remember getting thrown or anything. He remembers coming back. It's like, I don't know if the thing can wipe out the actual thoughts. But he just goes, no, we definitely went back. And then he remembers going back to the room, but doesn't remember anything through that chick, but remembers everything else leading up to it. It's hard to explain, but at least Matt confirmed everything as well. So it was just weird that he didn't remember that she even existed in the end. Like, he remembered coming back with us. He remembered catching a taxi up there, but just didn't remember her. I'm not going to sleep well tonight. Sorry, all good was worth it. Yeah. I'm very skeptical on this kind of shit, but hearing the emotions and you explaining it. Well, I'm not trying to convince anyone either, Tim. So I'm very aware that people are going to be skeptical. Well, there's probably most of the people that think I'm actually batshit crazy here and think I'm absolutely lost my mind. But I think the thing that I would have been skeptical, I was probably skeptical up until the point the taxi driver said whatever it is, it wasn't real. And the other thing I was confirmation was when my mate completely didn't remember. It's like that thing knocked him and like sucked his memory out. It was just really strange that he didn't remember. But I don't know. It just so much doesn't make sense at the same time. It does make sense because I remember the story so well. Like, I remember from start to finish, and this was a decade or more ago, making me really think. And this is the thing too. Before I touch off, before my computer dies because I'm at 19%. Like, I'm pretty skeptical of those things. I don't normally believe most of them, to be honest. I think they're a load of BS. But I think once you've been through one of them, I feel like 90% of them are BS. But when you've been through one and you know in your heart that it actually happened and you're not making this shit up and you remember every single detail from over a decade ago and every time you've told the story, it's never divided. That's how you know it 100% happened and you're not trying to put any icing on it. But yeah, sounds interesting though. Yeah. When you heard the taxi driver talk about it, that would have made you feel it's real. Yeah, honestly, that's the point where the fact that I wasn't drinking at all, like I had no drinks, I didn't go out with them, and the fact that the taxi driver said whatever it is, basically implying it's not human, saying it's not real, it wasn't human, and that he basically wanted to quit his job after that. Mind you, too, I think the most real moment was, which I forgot to add the detail in, when he told me this, he actually grabbed me by the t-shirt or the hoodie or whatever I was wearing. I think it was a hoodie, and grabbed me and said that too. Just looked dead set into my eyes. So anyway, very interesting. Big Bird, g'day, Brad. I love the content. Rank 3. What the hell? Okay, so rank 1 was in the house the other day in my chat, and rank 3 is in here. I'm going to go after the next couple of ones. G'day, Brad. I love the content. Rank 3. Got 440 in the bank. We'll be able to grab Greene next week and flex. Feel like I've got to send it, but only got 3 trades worth. What do you think? Well, you're sitting at number 3 and you need Greene, then sure, I'd do it, especially at rank number 3. I'd probably send it for Greene and go down to 2 trades for what it's worth. I'd do it. I think Gaune's from round 19 onwards is going to be pretty decent. Most of the top 100 around you have Greene as well. So he's probably not the greatest antipod, but look, he's got a few tough matchups over the next couple of weeks, but I think Gaune's probably you go, or like places mentioned too, Grundy if you wanted to get a pod. But yeah, I think whoever you feel's got a better matchup from here on. Grundy's an absolute good shout. Even Jacko as well. Even like Jacko's an absolute shout because he's got ruck forward, so be more flexible on your side with going down to 2 trades. Thanks on sharing it though. Keen to hear more of those stories if you've got more. I've got a few more, none as intense as that. Who would you be, Sam? VCing Bont into Bailey Smith. His team's unreal. He's talking about number 3. Yeah, that's right. Looking forward to the next few hours. More stories. Sounds good, Tim. Thanks, everyone, for listening to my stories and jumping on and for the whole entire session. So give us a like before you guys leave and whatnot. I'm sure I'll be on soon. Has Grundy. Okay, so he's already got Grundy. Interesting. Aqua. I've had a pitch near. I wanted Jez, but you can get Phil Thorpe instead. Yeah, I don't see why not. Jack Martin, F6, Phil Thorpe loop with Jez and Warner looping Martin. Yep, don't mind at all, Aqua. Big Bird, yeah, Grundy and Jack have been unreal for me. Okay, so you already got those 2 big dogs, then yeah, that makes sense. So you don't got Trish and Cherry then? Interesting. So I'll have to have a look at the side. If my computer dies, I'm sorry, people, I'm about to get out of here. I should have looked at it because he's number 3, but my battery on my computer literally says 17%. So I'll try to do this before it dies and before I'm in the doghouse at the misso, because I'm pretty sure I was meant to be in bed by now. So yeah, look, it's cool that number 3 and number 1 are watching my stuff. Like that says something. It's always got Whitfield out. What are you going to do, Whitfield? I'd love to know that. Well, I suppose McCarthy and Rivalry, number 3. Well, he's got Cherry Grundy. He's got Jackson in flex. And in F1. Jeez, that team is stacked. Oh my God. But what's number 1 compared to number 3? Oh, geez. I think number 3's got him covered, I reckon. A little bit hard to tell, but I have to go through it more in depth. But I think number 3 looks better than number 1, Big Bird. Hopefully number 1 doesn't take offence to that. I might go Bonte to Holmes. Don't mind it. Holmes should go off as well. Any of the Dorling players should, really. I hope you still get a good night's sleep. Yeah, you too, Tim, and everyone else in the chat. Thanks for everyone listening. I might hold fast with Jez. That's also fair too, Neil. All right, yeah, give us a like for the stories tonight and everyone in the chat for listening to me talk random stories and stuff. And Supercoach was 50% of it. But yeah, again, thanks for the support and all the rest of it. And I'll read the last couple and get out of here. Fantastic team, Big Bird, all the best. 100% all the best with Big Bird and the rest of yours. Placey, Grundy, Pot is massive. 100%. Yeah, honestly, Big Bird's going to come home pretty strong, you'd think. Big Bird says, thanks, mate. No worries. Cheers, lads. Thanks for jumping in as always, Grundy. Chance of Grundy for me. Yeah, no, fair. Thanks, Tim. We're 7 minutes away from the morning. Oh, no, yeah, no, I'm definitely in the doghouse tonight. Thanks, Brad. When is your next stream? Enjoyed it. I'm not sure when it is, but yeah, as long as you're subbed, you'll get a notification probably the next couple of nights. Probably a night or 2 away, because I'm going to be in the doghouse tonight for being this long. I'm meant to be babysitting, obviously, but the misso is instead. This is a tragedy. All right, thanks, chat. I've definitely got to go before the computer dies and I get my head cut off for not getting in bed in time. Yeah, you too, Ak. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for joining, and yeah, good luck for your round, and I'm sure I'll be on. The good morning one always goes well with me. Yeah, good morning to you all, and I'll see you next stream. Cheers. Thanks.